and you'll see what we're up against.
Daleks.
We've been waiting for centuries. We shall go on waiting.
No! It's a trap! Get out of here! Run!
Hello, and welcome to another entry in the History of series. Today we will be adding to the archive the Thals, the mortal enemies of the Kaleds and later the Daleks. That is, until the Time Lords came along. But anyway, let's begin. One account stated that the Thals and Dals were descended from humans transplanted from Earth to Skaro as an experiment by the Haldons. 100 million years before the Thousand-Year War, the Thals' evolution diverged from that of the Kaleds. The Thals had written records going back nearly 500,000 years. Records would describe the Thals as originally a warrior race, while the Dals were more orientated towards philosophy and science. Because the earlier sections of their recorded history was distilled from vocal tradition, they were less accurate than the later documentation of their history. There was an ancient city north of the Khaled Dome that had evidence of Thals and Kaleds living together in peace in the distant past. But due to unknown circumstances, the Kaleds and Thals engaged in the Thousand-Year War, with historians finding evidence of both a Thal attack or a preemptive strike by the Kaleds. Though they originally used advanced technology, towards the end of the war they became more primitive, and by the end of the war, both Thals and Kaleds sheltered in domed cities overlooking the wasteland they'd created. The war concluded when Davros, a Khaled leader and brilliant scientist, gave the means to destroy the Khaled Dome to the Thals. They used his compound in the missile they sent to the Khaled city and destroyed it. In retaliation for the destruction of the dome, Davros ordered the Daleks to destroy the Thals. Led by a Thal, Batan, Thals and Mutos joined together to fight the Daleks, trapping them inside the Khaled bunker with an explosion, defeating them, but not killing them. Though heavily weakened, the Thals saw an opportunity to destroy the burgeoning Dalek race by attacking the newly built Dalek city. Fearing this attack, the Daleks responded by detonating a neutron bomb. The Thals retreated to a high plateau, one of the few places on Skaro vegetation still grew, and over the centuries this would be known as the Neutronic War. The Thals renounced violence and became pacifist farmers living in small bands on a less irradiated plateau. They would not even engage in violence for self-preservation and showed no curiosity in the Dalek city or its inhabitants. Though this didn't mean that they never thought of them, as they believed that the war had mutated them into perfect beings. The Thals relied on a great rain for their crops, but after it became overdue for 2 years, the crops were ruined, forcing the Thals to move to the petrified jungle near the Dalek city over 500 years after the war had passed to look for food. Ian Chesterton, a companion of the First Doctor, used moral blackmail to force the Thals, Alden in particular, into putting together an expedition into the Dalek city to fight against the Daleks, who intended to eradicate the Thals. They invaded the Dalek city, cut off the power, and so deprived the Daleks of the static electricity they needed to survive. Another group of Thals, led by Themis, had instead sought to take shelter in the ruins of the Thal Dome. After braving Skaro's mutated wildlife, the Thals made it to the dome, only to find it inhabited by a group of Daleks who promptly exterminated them. Following what would become the Thal-Dalek battle, the Thals, though by reverse engineering Dalek technology, constructed a new city for themselves. As their technology developed, a movement of Thals began championing for a return to their pacifist roots. On one of their scientific excursions to the Dalek city, their leader, Tirana, discovered the Dalek city's secret incubation level and the slumbering form of the Dalek Supreme who duped her into thinking that it desired peace. 50 cycles after the battle, the Doctor and his companions returned to Skaro, their arrival causing the Dalek Supreme to abandon its ruse, leading a resurrected army of Daleks to invade the Thal city. The Doctor and his friends managed to rally the Thals against the Daleks once again before they took their leave, though some Thals worried that the Daleks might return once again, possibly having another colony on the planet. By the 26th century, the Doctor's visit to Skaro was considered a legend. In 2540, the Third Doctor and Joe Grant met a task force of Thals on Spiridon, where a small group, led by Taran, had landed to destroy a Dalek army massed on the planet. The Thals had, by then, reclaimed Skaro, though they had only recently developed spaceflight. The mission to Spiridon was the furthest they had ever gone. Earth was unknown to them, and they believed it to be simply part of the Doctor legend. The Thals were eventually forced off Skaro by the Daleks, theorized by the Time Lords to have sought refuge in a series of off-world colonies. They were eventually said to have relocated to another homeworld, New Davius, sometime before the Imperial Renegade Dalek Civil War, although occasionally they returned to Skaro for brief visits. In their absence, Skaro was believed to have been destroyed by the Seventh Doctor. In reality, however, a decoy world named Antolin had been destroyed. The Thals survived past Antolin's destruction and fought the Daleks on Terrakis, wiping out half of the 8th Dalek fleet. The Daleks mounted a liquidation war against the Thals, which was called the Jaski-Thal. The Special Weapons Dalek participated in this war. 8 centuries after the Daleks had been defeated, the Thals had made it their mission to hunt and destroy any remaining Daleks in the galaxy. A squad of Thals travelled to a planet in the Quadrille, and discovered that the Doctor was unwittingly working for the Dalek Emperor. Whilst the Thals believed that the Doctor had helped them escape, they had in fact been infected with the Dalek factor, which, after several generations, would turn the Thals into a new generation of Daleks. At some point, the Thals fought a series of wars with the Mechanoids. Being pacifists, the Thals refused to give the Time Lords information on the anti-radiation drug during the last Great Time War. The Thals existed on Skaro after it had been recreated by the Daleks. Missy's pet Slither, nicknamed Doctor, ate several of them. In an alternative timeline, the Thal scientist Professor Tolan was part of a Dalek effort to find a cure for the mutant phase. This timeline was averted when the 5th Doctor convinced the Dalek Emperor not to give the Daleks of the past an ineffective cure that would cause the mutant phase in the first place. During the last Great Time War, the War Master acquired the anti-Genesis codes from Gallifrey. Travelling back to the 1000-Year War, he ensured that Davros was killed by the bomb that should have only crippled him, usurping the Kaleds' place as creator of the Daleks. 20 years following this, he ordered his Dalek Supreme to detonate a neutron bomb to render the Thal race extinct. In the Unbound universe, the Thals shared Skaro with the Kaleds before their tensions escalated into open war when Skaro was attacked by the Quatch. Like in Endspace, the Kaleds of this reality were turned into Daleks by Davros. The Daleks quickly conquered Skaro and enforced a police state on the Thals in preparation for the return of the Quatch. When the Unbound Doctor and Alistair, Gordon and Lethbridge Stewart arrived on Skaro, they helped the Daleks and Thals defeat the Quatch, with Alistair choosing to remain with hope of one day bringing about a permanent peace between the Daleks and Thals. In yet another reality, early in Skaro's history, the Time Lords attacked to try and destroy the Kaleds. This act instead unified the Kaleds and Thals against the Time Lords, who were recorded as being destroyed by the Skarosians. Now a peaceful world, Skaro never experienced the 1000-Year War. Following the Daleks' event space being wiped out in the Time War, the Dalek time strategist arrived on Skaro and manipulated its Davros to help resurrect the Daleks. As he became like his multiversal counterparts, Davros ordered his Daleks to attack Skaro-style districts as a test of their abilities. And that is the history of the Thals, a species that even through a 1000-year-long war, and living on the same world as the Daleks, survived through to the Time War and beyond. But anyway guys, thanks for watching. If you enjoyed watching this video, then make sure to leave a like and subscribe down below, and stay on the lookout for more history ofs in the future, as I have so many more planned and can't wait to show them to you all. But anyway, thanks for watching.